Hey everyone, Chris, the Thrift Shop Hustler. Do I have a show for you today? We're going to go over the top 20 items sold for over $300 in 2019. As a matter of fact, the majority of these are over $400 or more. There are a few that are about, over $300, but for the most part, these are all going to be items over $300. There's going to be 20 of them. We're going to go through each one of them. We had an amazing year in the eBay store. Once again, I'm Chris, the Thrift Shop Hustler. Go ahead and just smash that like button right now. Pause the video, smash the like button. You know you want to. This definitely helps out the algorithm. And while you're doing that, make sure that you're subscribed to this channel. If you're a new subscriber or an old subscriber, YouTube is unsubscribing people from different channels. So go and check that and make sure you're subscribed. We're going to go over the top 20 things sold for over $300. Lots of different items and a lot of familiar items if you've been following along throughout the year. This is going to be a crazy show. These are high end ticket items. Now, all these items were donated to one of our shops. We have 48 different shops. And for those who don't know, I work for the American Cancer Society. I run their eBay business. And so, like I said, all this stuff is donated for cancer research and cancer related funding. So it's a really amazing project to be a part of. Great mission. And I'm truly blessed to be working for a company and doing what I love, selling stuff on eBay, and it's going to a good cause. So that's a little bit of background of all this stuff. So like I said, all this stuff has been donated. There is hope for everyone out there. We don't catch all the things, just like Goodwill does not catch all the things. So, let this be an inspiration. And like I said, definitely go down there and click the like button. If you learned something at all in this video, let's get right into it. This is going to be a jam-packed show full of the highest of the high end. Up first, we have a piece of art. This is an original New Mexico American artist, Ed Sandoval, oil on canvas. This sold for $1,289. We did take a best offer on this. We do get some paintings from time to time. This is the kind of stuff you can easily find at Goodwill. I'll tell you that for sure. There's so many oil paintings that kind of, you see like this. You go to Goodwill. This one happens to be very vibrant and bright. It is oil on canvas. And for those that don't know, oil is definitely a type of a medium that takes a while to cure. And so you definitely want to know your stuff in between, acrylic paints and stuff like that. But for this, oil is usually like a thicker kind of a very thick paint that you can actually touch and feel, and it has, all the characteristics and stuff like that. So this is a really good sale. This kicks off our top 20 here. Like I said, this sold for $1,289, and this was a 23 by 17. It was nicely framed, vibrant colors. Real pro tip, real quick, even though WorthPoint doesn't show all the photos, if you look in the very bottom corners where you're going to find the artist name. So if you go to Goodwill and you want to search for the artist name, if you can read it, that's how you're going to do that, to look up the certain things. Next up, we have a piece of art. This is from Grace Slick. This is called White Rabbit. She is, if you've heard of this name before, you are correct. She is the lead singer of Jefferson Airplane, where she did the White Rabbit song. And for those that aren't familiar with that, it's a very popular song. Throughout the years, everyone's heard it. So this is kind of like a ode to this. This was a print, signed and numbered to 300. This sold for $519. And as you can see here, the price is a little off on WorthPoint. Basically, when you see a WorthPoint price, that's what it sold for without figuring in shipping and tax and all that kind of extra stuff that eBay tax on there. So the total basically price was $519 with shipping and tax and all that kind of stuff. So this was a really good sale. A really cool piece. And this is, like I said, this is the kind of stuff that people might, walk by at Goodwills or estate sales and things and not realize that something that, they might be charging $100 for this piece at an estate sale, you can still get $500 plus for something like this just by looking up the name and knowing what you're looking for. I did do some brief research on this and did find out that previous ones sold for around that price. So that's what I listed it at, was $450, and it sold relatively quickly. I think we held on to this for a couple weeks, and then it sold. So definitely look out for art. Just look up the names if you can read it and go from there. Next up, we have another piece of art. This is Dennis Mahome, American artist, sagebrush flowers, desert landscape. This is a beautiful painting. Like, I was really in love with this painting. It was small, by the way. I think it was like a 5x7. It's really small, but it was like, I was being an artist myself. Actually, you can actually look at this right here. Look how detailed that bush of flowers is. Now, one of the questions I get a lot about art is whether or not it's worth anything. How do you tell if you don't know? Usually high quality stuff is high quality stuff, and it goes from purses, shoes, clothing, and it goes with art too. As you can see here, you can barely see those bushes, but that is amazing detail. And as an artist myself, I was just blown away that this was all, I think this one was like a oil and maybe even a little bit of acrylic in there. But this is an amazing piece. Anyways, this sold for $490. This piece right here, and I think so it was a 7x5. The whole frame was 15x13. As we can see here, you can see the name right here, and that -00 that usually represents 2000. This wasn't made in the 1900s, so I can totally tell that. And there's Mahome. Luckily for people that are researching this art, you can easily read that. There's some artist signatures that you cannot read. Once again, this sold for a total of $490. Next up, we have this Federica Ravizia, Italy Italian art. This was a still life hat. This sold for $457. As we can see here, another oil on canvas. This one kind of has that, what do you call it, look. There's actually impressionism. That's what I meant to say. It's basically like globs of paint, but if you stand far enough away from it, you get to pick out like the certain things. This is a hat with flowers. Frame size was 23x19. The actual art was 15.5x11.5. This one was a little hard to actually do. Is like when I tell you the last name, Ravizia or Raviza, you could basically tell what that looks like. But if, for me, I couldn't read that. Luckily, there was a piece of provenance that came with this, or like a COA or something like that. Even though, Worth Point will only give you 4 photos, there was 12 photos which showed, the back and the COA, and, the COA is really important, especially if you have a really well-known artist. It's basically gives you provenance. And then provenance, when you hear that word in the art world, basically means proof of ownership, like having a receipt. But the provenance is the history of the owners, because like something that's like $1 million painting, people are going to want legitimate provenance, and the better the provenance, usually the higher, not necessarily the higher the price, but the more confident people are going to be in the legitimacy of particular said art pieces. So that's what I just got to say about that. Anyways, once again, this sold for $457, and this was, I think this was a decent piece of art. I wasn't too blown away by this piece of art, but someone did and paid top dollar for it. Next up, this is actually a really cool piece. This is a Van Brigel Pottery bunny vase. This is like a blue-green, as we can see here. And the funny story about this piece was, I visited a shop in Northridge, and I went into their back room to kind of look at the stock that they have, that they had put away before they were going to put this stuff out on the floor. And in the very bottom shelf, dusty bottom shelf, there was a box that had this piece in it and a couple other Roseville pieces, which, if you've watched the channel, we've talked about Roseville pottery before. As a matter of fact, a huge kind of advice that I can give anyone is start to research ceramics if you don't know them. I wish I researched ceramics a long time ago because I'm sure I've came across them in numerous places that, I wish I would have known about them. But I'll tell you what, I sure the hell know about them now. Van Briggle is one of those companies you should probably research. I'm definitely not telling you what to do, but I'm just saying, if you're a reseller and you do this full time, definitely start researching ceramics, especially if you don't know them. Like I said, this one sold for a total of $402, and it stands about 6.5. Oh, but anyways, I'm telling you my story. This thing was in the bottom of a shelf, all dusty, and a box of other things. I pulled this out. It was funny. One of the managers was like, "Oh, like that's just, I was saying, I'm gonna take this." And the funny part is, I didn't even know it was worth so much, but it was just something about, the name and the look of it, because I was studying these at the time, and sure enough, this thing was a home run. It's kind of hard to actually find ceramic pottery worth over $100. A lot of this stuff is in the $30 to $60 range, but this one happened to be a very rare style, a very rare color way, and so this is why it went for so much. Like I said, there's other ones like this, but this one happened to be a real nice kind of pastel blue and green color. Had great aging. Next up, we have this. I think it's Mosk Ox Greenland Inuit soapstone sculpture. For those that don't know, soapstone is not as light as soap. You might see, when you hear soapstone, you might think, oh, this thing's like light, like soap. I don't know what is the makeup of soapstone, but it is heavy. It is like lead. This thing was huge. This thing was 21.9 pounds, and it was about 15 inches long. Now, you might not think like 21 pounds is very heavy, but trust me, this 21 pounds is heavy. And this was like a sculpture from the year 2000. This one had a COA. It was known by, an artist that is still living and doing stuff today. And like I said, this was called Circle of the Mosk Ox. This sold for a total of $400. And I guess we must have did free shipping on this one. But anyways, look out for soapstone sculptures. Inuit. I want to say they're native to Alaska. They're like native tribes from, I think, like Canada, like above the United States. So, Saskatchewan, like, anywhere above, like in Canada, Alaska. And I'm not exactly sure where the Inuit tribes come from, like specifically, but I know that's a northern, like Eskimo type tribe. And just look out for this kind of stuff. It's out there. And like I said, without having the COA or the provenance or anything like that, it would have been very hard, if I just came up on this in a garage sale or a estate sale without the paperwork, I would have had no idea what this was. So that's just one of those things where if you see this kind of thing and you know about the soapstone, you can kind of put two and two together. Like I said, this sold for a total of $400. Next up, we have this Rock Nukem Polychromatic American Arizona Southwest oil painting. I actually want to say this was probably acrylic. And what I want to say is this is like photorealism. The thing looks like a real photo. At first, I thought this was a print, but the artist is so good that however they watered down the acrylic paints to create this art was done very well, where it almost left no paint lines. This is an original piece of art. This was hand painted by an individual. The custom wood frame was amazing too. It's just like hand carved frame. It really, made this whole piece pop. And we did have another one that sold for a similar price. Anyways, this sold for a total of $367. The art inside the frame was 9x7. The frame itself was 16x14. And unfortunately, by the way, when I was putting this video together, There was so many items that I wanted to have on here that were over $500, but I couldn't get photos or any information because it was like, I guess, you know, when you go, I think Worth Point goes back like 9 or 12 years, like really far back. But for some reason, I couldn't pull up some of those other auctions. So there was so much stuff I wanted to show everyone, but I just couldn't. Anyways, this sold for a total of $367. By the way, if you haven't smashed that like button, I'm going to give you another chance. Go down there, pause the video, click the like button if you're enjoying this program so far. We got so much stuff to go through. Like I said, it's been a bunch of art and stuff right now, but we're going to get into some other items that you can definitely find out there at Goodwill's, garage sales, and estate sales. Next up, we have this. I don't know why this is here, but this is wrong. There we go. We got we got more art. What are you talking about? I thought you were saying there was no more art. We sold a lot of art. Art's going to be the thing. Well, here's one kind of like preference I want to say. If you're ever going to find a multi-$1,000 item, $1 million item, it's going to be art. Sure, there's plenty of toys, collectibles, and things that could be worth over $1,000, but the very high-end money is going to be in art. So just remember that. Put that in the back of your head. Plant the seed. Put some water on it. And here we go. Leroy Neiman, Brooklyn Bridge. This is a print. Twin Towers, New York. It's a really cool print. Leroy Neiman is known for a lot of this funky colors, almost like a Peter Max colorway. Really vibrant colors. Very, very kind of aggressive brush strokes. This is a really cool painting. As a matter of fact, I actually took the painting, a photo of the painting sideways, and then flipped it in eBay so you can actually see it, because basically it was so long and as a rectangle I couldn't get a good shot of it. So that's kind of a pro tip if you want to do some nice photos of this. So the frame is about 40 inches by 25 inches. This sold for a total of $433. We did take a best offer on this. And it's a really cool painting, very well-known artist. So it was a pretty cool subject also to see the Brooklyn Bridge with the Twin Towers on that kind of stuff. Next up, we have our first toy. This is an Elite Force FA-18C Hornet. The 1/18 scale. This thing's huge. We talked about this before in some of the prior videos you might have seen earlier this year. This is a big toy jet, plastic, plastic toy jet. This is a Bolo brand, Elite Force. They have these huge planes. They're 1/18 scale. And for those that don't know, 1/18 scale is actually pretty big when you even deal with cars. So this box is probably about 3 feet long. When I first saw it in the back, when these were donated, I thought this was like a cheap Walmart toy. You know, maybe we could have got like $30 for this or $20 for this. I thought it was cheap. So like I took it to my office and I looked it up, and I was so surprised to find there is even things that are worth way more than this. There's a helicopter in this series that goes for like over $800. So mark this on your calendar. Elite Force. That's the logo right there. Look for the helicopter if you can find it. These things weren't made in vast quantities, and most of these were just opened and played with. So it's rare to find these in the box brand new. It's very rare to find these in the box brand new. So if you do find them, doesn't matter if the box is all thrashed or whatever. Look, this one had a dent on this. This sold for a total of $345. We did take a best offer. We did have a lot of lowball offers on this when we first put it up, and I did do the high-low theory. For those who don't know, everyone pretty much has their own version of the high-low theory, basically price high. You can always drop the price. Never price low, because if someone buys it, you'll never know if you could have got top dollar for it. So if you have an item that's rare and there hasn't been any price discovery, and for those that don't know what price discovery is basically discovering the price of something. Pretty much self-explained. So, like I said, there wasn't no comps on this particular thing. So I kind of took to see what other things have been selling around, put it for $500, had a bunch of lowball offers, took a best offer for, I think this was like three something, and this sold for a total of $345. We might have done free shipping with this, but I highly doubt it. And so, definitely look out for Elite Force 1/18 scale fighter jets. Next up is, oh, this is a really cool piece. This is a large, I want to say a Ripple lighted heirloom, 16 inches world globe wooden stand. This was really cool. I actually had this in the office for a while before it sold. It's a pretty cool desk, kind of not desk, like kind of like office. You know when you see in the movies, the mansion guy that has a, he's got a library and a nice little like leather chair with a cigar, and he's surrounded by books. This is like one of those kind of pieces that would definitely be in there. It's vintage. We did have a guy come and pick this up locally. This sold for a total of $330. It was a local pickup. I did personally have to put this in the back of the gentleman's car, and he really appreciated this, and this was going to go into one of those said studies. Like I said, it was a pretty cool piece. Even when it was glowing, it had this kind of really kind of orange sun glow to it. It was really cool. So like I don't know how to really. So to be honest, like I'm horrible at pronunciating. English is my first language, and you would never know. Replogle. I don't know what it is, but definitely look out for that name. It's out there. Next up, we have this lady's Piaget. At least I can say that right. Piaget. It's not Piaget. Don't ever say Piaget because it's not Piaget. It's Piaget. 18 karat yellow gold. This thing was like solid gold watch. This sold for $2,100. This is actually the most expensive thing I think we sold this year. This thing was beat up too. Like it was crazy. Anyways, this was a huge gold watch. It's out there. This was 102 grams. It sold for. We took a best offer for $2,100. Person was very happy. I don't know if they were going to clean it up or whatever, or melt it down for the gold. Like I said, I have no idea. This is a really cool watch. Probably one of the highest things we sold this year. $2,100. These are out there. This would definitely be a garage sale or an estate sale thing. Sometimes people don't know that these watches are solid gold, and they're out there, and sometimes they're not marked. So knowing what gold looks like and feels like, gold's a heavy metal. It's very heavy for what you might think gold looks like. If you look at gold, a gold coin, and then you put it in your hand, you're like, wow, that's kind of heavy for a piece of metal of that size. It's kind of a heavier, denser metal. So definitely kind of put that in the back of your mind too if you don't have a magnet. And I definitely suggest everyone carrying, if they're going to go outsourcing, to have one of those crazy high-powered magnets with them. And they're very small. You can put them on your keychain, stuff like that. Next up, we have another piece of art. This is a Patrick Nagel, excuse me. I always want to say Nagel, but it is not with a na. It's with a neigh, like a horse, like a neigh. Patrick Nagel. The original stereograph. Lorraine, signed and numbered. Unfortunately, Patrick Nagel died in 1984, just before he really started to become a really good artist. He did get some critically acclaimed stuff going on. He's getting well known. You probably the 80s. See, the thing is, when you think of the 80s style, you kind of think of this kind of imagery. And Patrick Nagel is definitely something that a name that you should put in the back of your head, because he signed a lot of these prints, and it might just look like someone just scratched the thing, but that's his signature right there. It's kind of a funky signature. Now, here's a pro tip for everyone. If you find a Patrick Nagel print and it is after 1984 and it's signed, it's a print. It's a print signature. It's not a signature. So just remember that. He died in 1984, so if you find a 1987 Patrick Nagel print and it's signed, it's probably facsimile, because they did do that with some of these prints. And definitely go on eBay, check these prints out. They're out there. There's some of them that go for over $1,000. This one sold for $639 in the frame. which is kind of scary that, we ship this in the frame. I try to ship my prints in tubes and usually take the photos in the frames if I can, or if I take them out. I did create a magnetic wall that I do my photographs on. And I did do a video for Patreon. So if you're a Patreon, you've seen that video of me installing one of those big old metal sheets onto a wall so that you can use magnets to take photographs of prints if you have them. Anyways, Patrick Nagel. Definitely look that name up for sure. Next up, we have this vintage Featherlight Singer sewing machine. This is a 21 1K version. This wasn't even tested. This thing sold for $411. Look out for this particular style and brand. Singer, they did do a lot of sewing machines, so you're going to have to look up each model. Some of them are hits and some of them are misses. There's even the really crazy old ones that you think are worth a ton of money, but they're not. Especially the ones that are like attached to a table. Like I used to think when I was younger that, oh, those sewing machines must be worth a fortune, but it's like some of the weird odds and end ones in between, the old ones, the antique ones, and the new ones are the ones that are actually worth the most money. So this did sell for a total of $411. Next up, one of my favorite American artists, Norman Rockwell. This is the Runaway. This is a print. This wasn't even an original painting. I think if the original painting of this would have sold, it probably would go anywhere between $3 to $6 million. That's just my guess. Anyways, it's a cool print. This is an artist proof. It does say AP. There's Norman Rockwell's signature in pencil. Really good signature. There's AP. If you ever see AP on any kind of signature print, means artist proof. Artist proof means that before they do the main run of however many prints an artist does, the company will usually send over some artist proofs that he can go over, give to friends and family. Just one final thing. It's basically the completed print, but it's just the very first run is usually the artist proofs, and the artist gets a few of them for the most part. But anyways, if you ever see AP, that's what that means. They're usually worth more than a regular print because there's very few of them made. Sometimes there's only one of them made. But anyways, this is the Runaway. This is probably one of Norman Rockwell's classic pieces. He's done tons of stuff over the years. I want to say he died. He died in 1978. That's right. So if you see anything that's in the 80s that's signed, it's not his signature. I don't think people are forging a lot of Norman Rockwell stuff, but I wouldn't doubt it. But I'm just saying, if you start to study these artists like Patrick Nagel and Norman Rockwell, you start to get familiar of when they lived and when they passed. You can kind of, when you're doing your initial research, you can kind of use that information to kind of. Anyways, this sold for a total of $1,547. This is an amazing piece. And I think someone donated this. Not only that, they donated 2 pieces. Someone donated 2 of these. This is the other one. Spring Flowers. We have this one at $1,750. Trying to do the high-low theory on this. This one actually had some water damage to the frame. When I cracked this puppy open and I looked inside, luckily the print was fine. Though whoever actually mounted, look at this thing, this is in crazy condition. Whoever mounted this, the professional frame place, they did a horrible job, man. The tape job, I actually was going to make a video of this, and I didn't because making videos is such a waste of time sometimes. But I wish I did on this particular painting because the mounting job was done so horrible. But luckily for everyone, I was able to take it out of the frame, get all the tape off of it, roll it up, send it out. This sold for a total of $862. So look out for Norman Rockwell. And by the way, this was another signed artist proof. There's AP right there, and there's his signature right there. Norman Rockwell. Next up, we have The Row. And actually, the brand is the Row. Like, so if you ever see the Row, that is the brand. And it's this is a grained shopper calfskin leather. Now, this is the most. Someone said that this is butter leather, uh, and I never heard of that term before, but um, I know what leather is now. Basically, the leather is so soft and so nice that it melts like butter. This thing would not stand. I'm holding it to do this photo. As you can see, my hand is holding it to do the photo. Literally. There it is. Now, why is that? Because I couldn't set it down. When you set it down, it would just melt. Like it was so soft that it would just melt. This is one of the nicest leather handbags I've ever felt in my life. This sold for a total of $519. This is a great purse. Was used. This is used. This wasn't even brand new. I rated this 8 out of 10 for condition. Still a pretty cool handbag. We get in. That's what I'm saying. This stuff is out there. People are donating these. All these things that you've seen today, people have donated these. So this stuff is out there. This stuff falls through the cracks at a garage sale, at a estate sale, at freaking church sales, thrift stores. This stuff's out there. Go find it. Oh, by the way, if you're enjoying this video, click the like button. I've reminded you like 3 times already, or 4 times. I forgot. I stopped counting. If you click the like button, you will save a puppy or a kitten. That's what I heard. So go down there and click the like button. Next up, we have this Amen. Amen. Speaking of saving kittens and puppies, we have this 2004 Philosophy. Amen. Philosophy, I guess, is the company. If you are a viewer of this channel and a subscriber, and by the way, if you're not a subscriber, what the hell are you waiting for? Go down there and click the subscribe button and click the bell for notifications so you can get notified when I do videos. Because you're learning. Because the more you learn, the more you earn. Anyways, for those that are familiar with the channel, you've seen this before. There was a lady that used to do gift baskets for the Academy Awards. She donated all of her back stock that she had earlier in the year. That's why this is from 2004. It's like a discontinued fragrance, style, flavor. I don't know what you want to call it. I guess it wouldn't be flavor because you wouldn't eat the stuff. Sure the hell wouldn't drink it. Anyways, we had a bunch of these, and these have been selling. And the reason why I'm putting it here is we've sold 24 of these for a total of over $500. We're pretty close to $600. These things have sold like crazy, and like I said, these things will ship. When you're shipping cologne, I guess you're supposed to ship it ground. So either you want to, if you have a UPS account, or I think there's like select shipping or something like that. We use UPS because we have a special deal with them, so it's very nice. So we can be competitive with our shipping. But anyways, definitely look into that. You don't want to ship this first class because I think that goes like air, and these flammable liquids you can't be shipping like that. So just look out for that. Anyways, this is a really good pickup, and I just want to share this. That cologne is definitely something, if you can get it in bulk, is worth the trouble. Next up, we have this Vance Couture 60-piece Adirondack. I can't, you know what? English is, I can't do it. Anyways, these spoons and stuff. That's what we're going to call this. Spoons and stuff from Vance Couture. 60 pieces, Adirondack, bronze, brass, flatware, twig pattern. This is really cool because it actually looked like twigs, like branches and stuff. Really cool. This wasn't even like sterling silver or anything. It still went for a crazy amount of money. It sold for a total of $504. Yes, you heard that right. $504. Hey, you could see a person in the thing. That's funny. Who is that? That's not Paula. It says her shirt says coffee. I bet it says something about like, don't talk to me until I have my coffee, or it's something like something else. I don't know. Next up is this pair of Nike shoes. Nike Cactus Jack. These are Travis Scott's. These aren't the expensive ones, though. You might look at the price and go like, "What the hell are you talking about? These are pretty expensive." There's two versions of these, I was told. My brother-in-law, who is a shoe collector, told me that there's another version of these that are worth like $1,200. These aren't those because it has the Jumpman right here. I guess there's one that says Nike Air or something like that that was made in a limited edition. These were a limited run too, but these are the less desirable ones, even though people, I mean, the lesser of desire. These are like mint condition. I'd definitely rate these a 9.5 out of 10. They probably were like worn once and taken very good care of. They were like suede. Anyways, this sold for a total of $465. People donate this stuff. It's crazy. It's crazy. Crazy. Who donates this stuff? People donate this stuff. There's hope for everyone out there if you're going out there to go look for this stuff. It's out there. This stuff is out there. Next up, we have this vintage 1934 porcelain cocktail shaker. This sold for a total of $478. Crazy. Crazy. Mid-century modern. It's the rage. This thing's even in the seal's even in crappy condition. We kind of surmised that this went for a crazy amount of money because the porcelain was just absolutely beautiful. These things usually are broken, cracked, discolored, jacked up. This thing's beautiful. This thing's in absolutely beautiful condition. It's kind of crazy that a cocktail shaker actually went for this much money that's not pure silver or gold or something like that. There's the bottom. What does it say? Art Deco. EF Colette. EF Colette. Standard. Anyways, I'm Chris, Thrift Shop Hustler. It was a great 2019. Can't wait to show you some of the new stuff that we're coming up with this year. If you're not subscribed, definitely go down there, click the subscribe button. I really appreciate everyone's support, your comments, and all your likes and stuff. Definitely, I appreciate that. It's a struggle trying to, do YouTube videos with a busy life and everything. So, your likes and comments definitely help the algorithm, which in turn bumps the AdSense and all that fun stuff and makes this whole thing worth it. And like I said, I hope you guys learned something. If you did, definitely go down there, click the subscribe button and the like button and all the buttons. Just push all the buttons. Push all the buttons. I'm gonna make a shirt of that. Take care, guys.